Ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Masters of Marketing. In this episode, I have a very special guest, my business partner and a friend. In this episode, I asked Charlotte how we win clients, what are the best processes, how we hire talent, and what is the best way for us to acquire clients, what are the benefits of working with a boutique agency versus a multinational, and much more. Tune in and enjoy the episode. Charlotte, welcome to Masters of Marketing.
Thank you.
Good to have you, finally.
Likewise.
Let's start with who is Charlotte?
Who is Charlotte?
Charlotte, not Charlotte.
So my role at Igloo, I'm one of the partners, one of the five among you and your lovely family. And I overlook the commercial side of the business, so business development. And I look after the Dubai office. My personality. You want to know about my personality?
Of course. Not me. I know everything about you.
I asked my husband about some keywords. I thought it's always good to have some, an extra opinion on that. No, he mentioned words like dedicated, caring.
Sure. Yes.
He said strong opinion, very passionate about personal development. Dedicated to what I do. Doesn't matter if that's business projects, motherhood, everything in my life. So, yeah, I think That's me in a nutshell.
For sure. And just to add some context, so for the viewers, so when we started the business, maybe you don't know the story. So you came in to run the business development side of the business. And after how many years? 2 or 3 years, we said, shall we make this girl a partner? Because it's very important to have someone with her character, someone with her personality, someone that we love to be with us for a long time. So I think, and that's what happened to me as well in the Blooming Box. And I think that's something that I always tell people, like, it is very, very important. That's what we do as well, I think, right at Igloo. And that's what I want to ask you as well. Like, it is very important to take care of the people that really care about you on a personal level and that are amazing. And then you want to keep to grow your business. So
absolutely.
What is Igloo's offering? Because everybody asks me on a personal level, what do you do? What do you do? What is Igloo? And even some of our clients don't necessarily know everything that we do. So what is Igloo's offering?
Yeah, we do a lot. So, in short, we're a full-service digital marketing agency. And in the company, we have a few pillars, each pillar driven by and led by one of the partners. So one pillar is social media, for example, but then we do everything related to social. So that's from content creation, strategies, that's influencer campaigns, that's everything really related to the topic. And another pillar is performance marketing, where we have everything related to performance, and that's so many different things. So that's obviously Google Ads, social ads, SEO, but there's so much more. There's conversion rate optimization, marketing automation. So there's so much more to really help businesses grow revenues, basically.
Right.
Another pillar is web and branding, or tech and branding, if you like. So it's mainly websites, also applications that we've built and still building. We develop websites, we maintain websites, because it's all interconnecting. It's one ecosystem, obviously, between digital marketing activities and supporting web.
Right.
So that's what we do. We do branding as well, creative, design catalogs, brochures, flyers, so many different things. But these are sort of the main pillars.
Yeah. Right. So social, creative, performance, web and app design and development.
And branding. Yeah. Good.
How do you advise prospects on, especially that your role is mainly the business development and you speak to clients or to prospects every single day? How do you advise clients on the best marketing channels and activities that make the most impact on their top and bottom line? And I think this, like, why I'm asking you this question, because every single business from any different industry and different sizes, they have different needs, they have different goals, they operate in different markets. Some of them, they're already investing in social media. Some of them are investing in brand marketing. Some of them are investing in performance marketing. So how do you come up with the best strategy for them? Because again, most clients don't know what is best for them, and that's the question they always: what do we do? And in terms of marketing, really, you can go so broad and so big.
Yeah.
From out of home, so the traditional marketing to digital marketing to influencer marketing. There are so many things that any business can invest in. So how do you advise prospects on that?
Yeah. So what clients say they need and what they actually need is sometimes different. So they can call us or reach out to us to inquire about social media, for example. But turns out they're looking for lead generation. So it's very important in business development that you really have very good qualifying process, basically, and ask the right questions to really go an extra layer or deeper on their needs as a business, and not what that person thinks that the business needs or what they've done before but maybe didn't work before because they were not doing the right thing for the goals and objectives or KPIs that they had. And social media is actually a good example. We get a lot of requests from companies that are asking for social media management, which is mainly for branding, for reputation, for engagement, for a lot of things to really promote the brand, basically, and not necessarily generating leads, where social media ads, which is part of performance marketing and a completely separate setup, that is what generates leads or can generate leads if it's, if the business is suitable and if those are the right channels for them. And what we see as well is that with social ads, or in this particular example, is that also the analytics, the tracking is very different from social media management.
Correct.
And that's why it's so important for salespeople to really learn that qualifying process very well, because we do consultative selling. We don't have a product with 3 different types.
Right.
That you can sell easily, and you just need to know the specs and the technicalities of the product. Now we do consultative selling, and the only way to keep clients for a very long time is in the end to deliver what the business needs.
Right.
And what makes the business either grow or whatever their objective is. And if you don't ask the right questions, or if you offer a one-size-fits-all solution,
Or if you don't care.
Yeah. Then that's never going to work. And that's not in the client's benefit, but not in the agency's benefit either, because we don't want clients for 6 months.
Yeah.
We want clients for the long term.
Right.
And so that's very important to really go deeper on, okay, so but what does the company really need?
Yeah.
And it's a very price-driven market. We have budget conversations at an early stage, because we need to understand, not only from our side, but also for the client side, what to prioritize perhaps, or how to make a roadmap for them, with them, to see, okay, what do we need to prioritize budget-wise in order to achieve your goals? Often SEO is a request. Maybe SEO is not the thing to start with, the service to start with. Maybe it's a second phase, could be, depends, right?
Yeah.
But that's very important to look at objectives of the business, as well as the budget that they're either willing or able to spend, to then come up with a plan together. And again, it's a consultative approach, so we need to discuss with them what they need.
Right.
It's not a one-size-fits-all. And we see some agencies, they do sell it that way. They send packages, they send a pre-made offering with a list of services and a fixed price. And from my personal experience, that doesn't always work. It's important to really look at the business as a whole and the bigger picture.
I agree. And I think what we learned by hiring a few years ago 4 or 5 salespeople at once, is that we hired junior people that don't have necessarily that full marketing experience. They don't know what is best for clients. We told them, go and sell that specific service. And then what happened to us is that we ended up actually laying off these people, because we attracted the wrong clients, the wrong services. We couldn't necessarily deliver the best results for them. Clients didn't stay, and we onboarded potentially not the right clients. And I think that is the difference now between when you sell, or when you sit with prospects and give advice, versus junior people that give advice. So
right. And to add to that is that when you have a sales manager that's selling one service, that doesn't work in our line of business, because you need to look at the bigger picture and the whole ecosystem of their marketing. What's their setup? What's the team they have in-house? What can they do in-house? What support do they need? Maybe some companies have already the developers in-house, they have their creative people in-house, and we can complement that. So, and that's why it's so important to have the bigger picture and to have, because that's partially of what we did with sales managers, having them on one particular service, and that doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, I think as well, like to add on that, like salespeople, usually they have targets. They just want to sell. They sell whatever makes more money for them, and they don't necessarily look at mainly the benefit of the client. Versus you and me, when we talk to clients, we think about long term, not necessarily short term making money for us. And that's why when we talk to prospects and they say, yeah, we've been doing SEO, and then we look at the SEO, it doesn't make sense to do SEO because they're not getting the ranking. And they basically sat with the sales guy that is selling them SEO.
Right. Or they need to invest more in SEO, or they don't have or in their competitive industry, it doesn't make sense perhaps to invest, or if they're a small business. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And on that, what do clients look for when selecting an agency? The small and the biggest size clients.
Yeah, so that, in my experience, really comes from where the pain was with the previous agency. So, for example, when a company had a bad experience on creativity, for example, they say, yeah, we've been with the same agency for 2 years. They created our social media content, but they lost creativity. We need to chase them. We need to come up with ideas. So then the focus is really on that creativity. Show us your work. Show us, the clients that you had for a long period of time. So then the emphasis is on that. Where if it was on change of account manager, right, so the high turnover of account managers, so they had to deal with different people all the time, then there's a focus on the team. Okay, do you have a solid team? How long has your team been working on the same accounts, etc. So it really depends. And overall, of course, clients are looking for quality service, so they are looking for case studies. They're looking for the work that we do for clients, which obviously we don't always share because of confidential reasons, but high level we can share what we do as an agency, and it's very important to give them solid trust. And I think trust really, especially in this market, is extremely important.
Right.
Because trust is the team, it's the work, it's the stability of the team. So because we have a very stable team since many years, very low staff turnover, and the combination of these factors build trust, and that trust is an important thing. And what they need, really that varies a lot. And again, that can differentiate from the service or from, again, bad experiences. It can be, for example, that they want to really go in deep on the access of their accounts. They want to verify how we work logistically, like between accesses of accounts and ownership of accounts, because perhaps they worked with an agency where the agency owned the accounts and they lost all their data. So then, coming from that, very bad experience, of course, that's something that you look for into a new agency.
Right.
So,
what would you say the number one thing clients look for when selecting an agency? What is like the most important one?
Price.
Price?
Often it's price. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Not the answer you expected.
Good. Something for us to think about. Because if it's price, then
I mean, it's price versus value, right?
Yeah.
Because
of course,
the value we offer for our pricing is more than decent.
Yeah.
It's very good what we offer for the work we do. And that's also the thing when you sell time, right? Like law firms do, like agencies do. When you sell time, it's difficult to quantify that value. I mean, you have deliverables, but can you really quantify it? Is it that tangible? And the clients, for example, companies who haven't worked with agencies before, it's more difficult to explain to them what the value really is that an agency brings to the table. And of course, you can explain about the team, the seniority of the team, also the variety of team members that you cannot. I mean, you can, of course, have in-house, but that's more complicated than when you hire an agency. You have a few hours of this person, a few hours of that person, etc. So, yeah, it's price. I'm saying price as an an easy answer, but it's price versus value. And what I mean by that is that not every company can value what you're offering in relation to that price. And that's the quality, but that's across the board, not just with digital marketing agencies, that with all kinds of products, right? There's quality and there's less quality, and that comes with a price. But it is a very price-driven market. But I mean, besides price, it's of course much more than that. That was a quick answer, but it's service.
Because some clients that we speak with, they say, yeah, you're one of the highest in price, or you are one of the highest, and we still chose you.
Yeah.
And
many.
in most cases, when we sit with these prospects, they already have proposals that are lower in price than ours, and they still choose us. Why do you think that?
Because they see the value, because they can really judge the value that we bring to the table. Because as a boutique agency, having a high service level, having partners working in the business every day, being very involved, everything the seniority of the team, we have very senior team members, few junior. Not that there's anything wrong with junior people. That's absolutely not, fine. But we bring a lot of expertise, a lot of experience. We have, if I can say that, like a very nice portfolio. And that value is what clients see when they're willing to pay. And back to what I said earlier, we see many prospects or clients that become companies that become clients that have bad experiences. So they are okay to pay a bit more. And it sounds like we're really not expensive. I mean, we're not in the market. We're definitely not in the high end. But for like a quality boutique agency, we're decently priced. And if we look at the, so back to that point where I lost my question. What was the question? About the, like why clients are okay to pay more.
Yeah, so some clients, they see that we are one of the most expensive or one of the most expensive agencies, and they still choose us. So they don't choose us on price, obviously, in this case. So we win not on price, we win on, is it they like what they see? Is it the people? Is it the portfolio? Is it the testimonials? What do you think it is?
Yeah, it's really the mix of all of that. It's the value that you offer as an agency. So the seniority of the team, the client portfolio, the work we do, the references that we have, stability. We've been in the market for a very long time. We have, a nice office where people can visit. They can meet the team in person. So I think it's the partners working in the business. So there's a lot of factors that make people choose.
We've been investing in branding for a couple of years, very actively, I would say, for over a year. But we've been doing branding for since 2017 properly. Do you think that is helping us close business or not really?
Our new brand, like rebranding?
No, the like the social media content that we create, and we adding value to customers and to users, and showing us like we're doing now, or like the videos that we create and the posts that we create and the blogs that we write. Do you think that helps us close? Are prospects seeing us on a regular basis, and they at some point they say, "Oh yeah, we've seen you. We want to buy from you," or that is completely irrelevant?
No, it's not irrelevant. I think having different touch points where prospects see us, hear from us, it helps a lot. Like it's with any brand, like you need to see a brand 10, 12 times before people have that subconscious recall of the brand. And I think that's part of it. So when creating content, if that's a podcast, if that's social media content, if that's interviews or anything on other media, is always very beneficial to build a reputation of the company, to build trust, So, I mean, is it that black and white that you say, okay, this deal was closed because we created this post? No,
Yeah.
but it's again, the ecosystem. It's the whole,
Right.
the bigger picture.
And if in another agency or another service provider like us, whether it is financial institutions, whether it is a law firm, any B2B business that serves clients like we do, how important would you say now, based on your experience, personal branding or branding as a whole is valuable on a scale of 1 to 10?
Personal branding
So
or general
branding,
branding in general?
yeah. Because
Yeah,
why I'm asking this question, because today, like a lot of B2B businesses, again, there are so many things they could do, right?
Yeah.
They can invest in Google Ads, and they can invest in events and workshops, and they can go and exhibit, and they can do strategic partnerships with other businesses that serve their clients, and they can do outbound, and they can do inbound, and they can do branding like what we're doing. How important is that branding part, you would say, on a scale of 1 to 10?
Yeah, I mean, on a scale, it's very high, 8, 9, 10, like really in the high end. And why? Is because branding is the foundation of everything you do. Because if you don't do a proper branding exercise, people don't know who you are, what you stand for, if they can resonate with what you, what your message is. So that branding is extremely important. And the spin-off of that branding is, of course, the targeting the audience, and that is extremely important when doing any activities after that. So
Good stuff. And on that, what are the benefits for clients? What are the benefits for clients to work with a boutique agency versus a multinational one?
So in the end, it depends on the needs of the company, in the sense that, like, if you're a global brand or if you're a regional brand and you need representation in particular markets, then it's sometimes easier to work with a multinational agency. But what I see is that boutique agencies in a particular market can be more locally relevant. So for international brands to work with an agency who are on the ground, even though multinational agencies can also physically have an office in a market, but we see that the boutique agencies have a lot of local relevancy. So they are partnering with local influencers, for example. They're strong in the local language, so in our case, Arabic. So there's different benefits of working with a locally based agency. Now, we're also a multinational agency that we have offices between the United States and Dubai, and then a setup as well in a couple of other countries. But because we are so established here, we have a very relevant offering here for brands that really want to make a difference in this particular market. And by market, I mean GCC or the wider Middle East.
Right.
On top of that, I think the service. So if you have a business, like a medium business in a multinational large agency, becomes a smaller account.
Correct.
But in a boutique agency, they become a larger account. So that takes also the service level. It's more personal. Also, I think the benefit of a boutique agency, especially like us, is that there's always a speed dial to the either owners or partners. So it also builds trust, and they know that person is not going to disappear. Not on a global agency would disappear, but the contact, or right, you don't have access to senior management when you talk to a large agency. So I think there's few benefits, but again, it depends completely on the company setup. But we have many clients that are international brands, and they choose to have boutique agencies in their core markets to have a high service level and to have a lot of locally relevant partnerships, content, shoots. I mean, there's a lot of benefits of having that local representation.
Right. I agree. And of course, the turnaround, because we know with multinationals, if you want to do a change or if you want to create a new artwork or whatever it is, you got to go into a queue.
Yeah.
And if you want it today or tomorrow, there has to be many, layers of approval, etc. Where with us, they pick up the phone, they're like, "Hey, Charlotte, can we do this? It's urgent," and then we get it done.
We always do it.
Good. What has been the best way to acquire new customers or new clients for Igloo?
Yeah, so we say the best way, then the best way could be the most cost efficient way.
Let me
Or
rephrase then.
yeah,
What is the best way to acquire the right clients for Igloo?
I mean the best way is referrals, because that comes from people who have already worked with us. It comes from either from existing or previous clients, or we see that the people in a company, they move on to another company and then they come back to us. So these type of businesses or leads, that's the best, because the expectations are there, and the right expectations. There's already, like, you don't need to explain your offering and your value much more because they already know what you do. Other than that, it's good to have multiple sources of lead generation. Of course, there's the outbound strategies, the inbound. I strongly believe it's important to have a personalized outbound strategy. So to do, half an hour research at least for each prospect that you reach out to really understand what they do, to have a relevant approach to them, and not a one size fits all, like mass approach, for example. I think that way they can see, okay, that person has, made an effort to see who I am and what we do. And I think the chance of then continuing that conversation in terms of a cold approach, cold prospects, that's the most
Right.
successful. And then there's the inbound leads. Inbound leads require a lot of qualifying, so it's a very time-consuming task. And also something that is required to be done by someone who understands what we consider a good, qualifying lead.
Right.
Because there are a lot of companies that might not be the right fit from both sides. So there's not one particular way. I think it's good to have a mix of different sources, different spends as well. Like, obviously inbound is more expensive than outbound, but outbound is more time consuming anyway. So there's different ways.
Absolutely. And you're right, because there are different agencies that get their leads from different channels. So there are some agencies that do only outbound, and some that do only inbound, and some that do only partnerships, strategic partnerships. So they partner with other types of businesses that serve their potential clients. For us, we're doing, I would say, everything.
Yeah. And that's good also, because times change, like things are, the economies are moving, things are changing. It's good to not only rely on one source.
Yeah.
It's good to understand what can generate your leads, where you can get your leads from. And
and it applies to different markets. So we tried, for example, Google Ads in Miami in the US, and it didn't work for us.
Right.
While here it works for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
at the times of, for example, in times of COVID, there was not much marketing budget, of course, to spend, and we had to be creative in a different way.
Correct.
Right. So our SEO was doing really well at the time, and there were other sources, other ways of generating leads. And that's why it's good to have that set up so that you can get it from different directions.
Yeah. Makes sense. What has been the best sales process from the moment a lead is received until closing the sale?
Yeah,
because you've done it. You've done different ways.
Yeah.
You've been doing, sales for for how many years in total? You've been in sales since hotel
20
school.
years, I think.
So you've been in sales, business development in 20 years, and you've always been a top performer in all the companies. And that's a fact because I know. And you've been doing now business development at Igloo for how many years?
7.
7 years. So you've done different things. You've tested different ways.
Yeah.
And what has been, you would say, the best sales process at Igloo?
Yeah, so for us, what works really well is, first of all, a good setup in the team. So the way I create the sales team or build the sales team, grow the sales team, is from the bottom up. What that means is that you hire a junior person. That person gets... So I like to hire in the sales team particularly, and you can't do that in technical departments, but in the sales team, you can hire character. You can hire someone with the right work ethics, someone with the right attitude, someone who really fits the team well, who has the right personality. Then you can train that person. And then when that person is trained, you hire someone more junior underneath. And that person is trained by the previous person. So that works really well. So you push up basically the line of salespeople. And because, like what we discussed earlier, that having a sales manager for each service is not ideal. Again, because we need to look at the bigger picture. It's important for that sales manager, sales executive to be fully trained on all services to really understand the bigger picture. And then the more junior person to support on admin tasks, such as proposals and contracts and pitches.
Shadow, learn,
yeah.
and then, yeah.
Exactly. And that setup works really well. In addition to that, you need to have a super clear, very easy process in your CRM. So really different, like a funnel with different stages so that you can easily monitor, track what's going on, and really align with the sales team, of course, on how to proceed. And literally, like after 2 days we do this, after 3 days we do that. So really a very clear step-by-step process, and that works well for us.
And in terms of the like the sales process,
like closing.
So from the moment we receive a lead, what has been because I know, like today, for example, so we get a lead. We have one level that checks it. If it's a lead, because we get a lot of people applying
suppliers,
for jobs and
yeah,
suppliers
exactly.
and stuff like that, right? And people want to talk to us just because.
Yeah.
So that's first level layer.
Yeah.
And then it goes to someone more qualified to qualify that it is the right lead for us.
Yeah.
And then it goes to someone more senior like you or me or someone on that.
A partner is always involved in the last stage.
Right.
Yeah.
How is that the best way in your experience?
I think for now, yes.
Yeah.
I think for us with the size of business that we are today, yes. I think in the future, if we grow the pace that we grow today, that will change at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
And because we receive a lot of leads every single day.
Yeah.
How do you ensure that we don't waste a lot of time in the qualification process and not waste time talking to potential businesses that we really cannot add any value to them and they are not the right clients for us?
Yeah, I think by now we really know the red flags. So we know what for us, right? I'm not talking in general for a business, but I mean, it could be a fantastic business idea and a great setup and a beautiful company, but maybe it's not the right business for us to work with, because we know what kind of clients work for us and that are, tend to stay long and have that partnership. So those criteria, the sales team knows that, so they know what to look for and what is important in a lead. And once we have at least, let's say, 3 points where we think, okay, that could be, potential lead, then I'm already involved, and we take the qualifying process further. It also depends on if it's a large brand and or an RFP tenders. I'm involved from the first step. So it depends also on the size of business, if they worked with an agency before or not, if they're looking for a big scope of work or maybe something smaller, if it's a very technical thing where we need, for example, our web developers to be involved because there's technicalities that need to be specified. Again, consultative selling, it's every single one is different. Yeah.
Right. How long does it take for us on average to close a deal?
An average sales cycle is 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes it's a week, sometimes it takes a year.
But
there's always exceptions, but on average 3 months. Yeah.
Good stuff. On the talent part, how do you hire talent at Igloo? What are the things you look for while choosing who to hire?
Yeah, I think that depends per department. For me personally, like in my role, I can hire mainly on personality, because I can train or have trained within the team these people, and that works very well for me.
Which department you're mentioning?
So sales, account
because
management.
You're the MD of the office, so you overlook the business development and the admin, HR, operations.
Finance, no, not finance. Yeah. I mean, I don't hire for the social media team, for example, or for the web team or the branding or the designers. Like that's those are not the people that I hire. These people obviously need skills. They need technical skills.
Of course.
But when I hire in the sales team, we can hire on character, personality, work ethics. Literally the energy I get from someone, like the vibe that you can't describe it, you can't touch it, but I think even gut feeling is part of that process. But when it comes to, the office manager that we hired a few years ago, of course, she needs to have certain skills. Still, the work ethics and the personality is also important. Or the account management also reports to me. That requires more technicalities, but those people that we have in the account management team, they came from other departments. So we also really make an effort to grow the team members that we have and to really keep their roles challenging, either by the portfolio that they manage or by the team that they grow over time. Our social media director has been with us since over 5 years, and she started as a social media manager, and she climbed the ladder, and she's amazing. So that's really what we also encourage internally. So how do we hire? It's the hiring, but it's also the how do you optimize the resources that you have? We had amazing people in the sales team that might not be the best performance on new business, but we're amazing people, like people person. People. Like, and one of our account directors, she was so good with people that we saw that she was the right person to join the account management team. And so it's good to look at each individual as well.
Right. Yeah, and I'd say as well, like personality is a character is huge, definitely the most important part for any role that we hire anyway. And it's a hit and miss, right? So we took a risk, and
that's part of life. So.
Cool. And actually on that, so Igloo has a very, very low staff turnover.
Very low.
Right. How is that, and why is that, you think?
Funny anecdote is that the other day we were having an internal conversations, because as we grow, we also need to look at our processes and procedures internally. And then we asked each other, like, okay, so what's the exit procedure in this particular department? And we looked at each other and we said, nobody left in the last 4 years, like in that department. So we didn't really have, a proper exit process for anyone in that department because nobody left in such a long time. What I think is the main two things that we have in the company that are contributing to that low staff turnover is that we have a very nice family culture, company culture. Our company culture is supportive, it's positive. There's no politics, no backstabbing behind the back, nothing. It's such a positive environment to work in. Also the remote teams or the people that are in different setups in other markets where we have teams, that I think is really a big part, and that also comes from us being a family business. I think that family feel that the 5 of us have, I think the company feels that, and that's really dripping down to the team members. In addition to that, I think it's the trust and the flexibility that we offer. So flexibility in the sense that, we work 2 days a week from the office, and people can choose, what days they work from home to a certain extent. Because we know that, there's work-life balance as well. And I think that flexibility of working from home some days a week is a huge plus. And we trust people with the output that they deliver. And personally, I really think that's the way to go, because if you're going to micromanage people, then you don't have the right, you can micromanage people, but if you have to micromanage people, then these are maybe not the right team members. Yeah. The team members that we have in our company, we don't need to check where they are and at what time, because they are so responsible. They take ownership of their job, of their tasks, of their to-do lists, and the things they need to complete, and the deadlines they have to keep in mind. They don't miss it. Their output is really good. And so we can trust them. And so it's a combination of factors. But I think definitely that taking them, serious, treating them equally. We have a very flat organization. So a few things.
I agree. Yeah, I think, it's nice to hear it, actually. You're right. Yeah, man. I mean, it feels like everybody's a friend and everybody's a cousin, and like we take care of each other,
Yeah. Also
and I
because
think we've
life
been lucky,
happens. Yeah,
as
we've been
right.
very
So
lucky.
yes, we are a family, the five of us,
Mm,
and we've been, we know each other for so many years.
mm,
And yes, it goes down, and it feels like the people, the employees, they feel like, yeah, it's a family, it's a nice environment.
yeah.
But definitely, we've been lucky
We've been very lucky.
to
And I
have the
think
right
it's
people.
definitely both ways. Like we
Mm.
have team members that have medical reasons that they cannot be in the office, certain days of the week, or they have
School drop
family
off. Yeah.
circumstances.
Mm.
Exactly. And we know that, they will deliver their job.
Yeah.
So to us, it doesn't matter if there's circumstances, as long as there's a clear agreement on things, then that's absolutely fine. I think that flexibility is important. Yeah.
Yeah. Love it. How valuable is it for the partners, in our case, to be working in the agency?
I think for clients, it has a lot of value. Like I said earlier, to have that speed dial in case you need it. Not that clients use it much, but the
How
feeling.
valuable, actually, let me rephrase it to two questions. How valuable is it for clients, and how valuable is it for a business?
So for clients, it's very valuable, again, because of that trust. They know that when things are not going right, that they have a speed dial to at least one of the partners. Not that they need it, and not that it happens a lot, but in case, it gives them a confident feeling. So in that sense, it's important for clients, and it has value for clients to have that seniority involved in accounts, and to step in whenever that's needed. For a business, I think it depends on the size of the business. I think for partners to be involved in the day to day is, for our size of business, very important, because we don't have that senior leadership team below us. I mean, there's not an HR director or an finance director necessarily. So that's us. And once you have that leadership team, because you're big enough and you have that setup, then founders, partners, they can take a step back. So I think it depends on the size of the business, but overall, yeah, it's very good. Also for partners to be involved in the business, you see what's going on. You see what's going on with your clients. You see what's going on with your team members, and if there is something that needs to have a slight redirection, you're immediately there because you know what's going on in your company. And this is why I have weekly internal meetings with managers in the company, because it's important to understand. I know and I know, more partners know what's going on with our clients in detail. And that's important.
Mm.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why actually turnover, the staff turnover is very low, because there's not a lot of layers.
Mm.
And usually when you have employees managing people, they wanna shine, and some of the managers are not the right managers. They want to take credit for everything,
Mm.
and then the layers below them, they feel suffocated, mistreated, whatever that is. So for us, it's
Yeah.
very open. It's one big office, and
Yeah,
then
and it's in our benefit that they feel well and that they
Mm.
perform well.
Mm.
Yeah.
Good. What are your what are what are you most proud of at Igloo?
Yeah, not necessarily something that I personally achieved, but I think in general, I'm very proud of the team that we have. The team that we have since many years, that we know and that is like family. Really, that Igloo family. That's something I'm really proud of. The company culture that we have created, subconsciously or not, but that's something that I'm really not just proud of, that I feel so pleasant in. Like, I love going to the office, walking into that positive energy when you open the door, having smiles, even hugs, it's nice. It's a nice environment. That's what I'm proud of. And in addition to that, I'm really proud of, I know it's a few years ago now, but still something that I think of sometimes, is how we how we handled the COVID time in the company. Really, we won two of our biggest brands we ever worked with in that time. and it was not easy. Obviously, one client canceling after the other in a matter of 2 weeks, and or putting things on hold for obvious reasons, because everybody was like, what's going on here? And I think the way we managed that and the way we went through it, while we saw many agencies really struggling, I think we did really well on different aspects. I mean, financially, but also staffing. We have still, the majority of the team is from pre-COVID, and that's something I'm really proud of. Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, and we are blessed to
absolutely.
to stay in business, because,
Yeah.
like you said, many agencies we know, they just went bust.
Absolutely.
And what
Yeah.
we lost, I think, 60% of our clients in 2 weeks.
I don't know the exact percentage, but it was fast, and it made me nervous. Yeah.
And we had to restructure. We cut down everybody's salaries, all of us.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and also with good financial management, obviously from also one of the partners, that helped
sure.
a lot. Yeah.
Good stuff. We're running out of time. Is there anything else I didn't ask you that could add value to the viewers and listeners?
No.
Okay. Awesome. Pleasure having you.
Thank you.
And I see you, if not today, tomorrow. أهلا.